You're listening to a 58 Ember production.
Howdy there, folks. My name is Audrey and Flowers, and welcome to Completely Fucking Clueless.
And my name is Sarah Alice Liddy, and we both use she, her pronouns.
That is a true fact.
Welcome to Golden Hour episode.
Yeah, it's golden hour in my apartment.
I know. It may get like dark as this goes on, but
Probably.
your girl had to work, all right? I got to pay the bills. I got to try to move out,
Slay.
you know? Anyways, Barbie. Let's talk about
Barbie.
it. Let's talk about Barbie.
I saw Barbie opening night.
You did.
The night before it came out formally. We saw it at 11 p.m. We were in that theater until like 1:30.
Shit.
I really liked it more than I thought I would. I thought it was going to be a little more bubblegum, like sort of pink feminism. But it was significantly more progressive than I anticipated it being.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. Okay, so first off, I need to see it again because Olivia and I went and saw it at a drive-in, which was so fucking cool. The drive-in was very
so
cute.
cute.
It was, oh my gosh, when we were driving in, this little girl literally was having her birthday party there and they had like a table set up. It was so cute.
Oh, for all of us, it was so funny because literally I met up with some friends beforehand and I caught the train all the way up to like 150th where they are. And the whole time, anytime you saw a group of people that were all wearing pink, you know were just coming from or just going to. And so when I was with two of our friends and I was catching the train down to see it, and we ended up on a subway car with a bunch of girls who had just seen it.
Yeah.
And another girl who's going to see it like a day later. And we were all being like, hi, Barbie, hi, Barbie. And I'm sure the other people thought we were so obnoxious, but it like felt so cute and wholesome. And then on the flip side, the theater we were going to is in Times Square because we had a bunch of people meeting up. And so then walking there, got a bunch of cat calling. And it was like, wow. Humanity.
I know, like
so many sides.
Disgusting. Yeah, I just love seeing like the little kids who came and like their cute outfits. Like there were these 3 girls that were in like Barbie pajamas.
There was like 2 small children at our showing, and I was like, "This showing is at 11 p.m.
What are you
like,
doing here?
It went till 1:30 in the morning. Why are you here?
Go to sleep, Barbie.
Like." What? And it was a Thursday night. It was I mean, I
Right.
guess not a school night. They
It's
don't have
not.
school. Yeah.
I always think about that because like I live in my hometown, so I'm always thinking about like when I'm going to the train, like, oh, I got to beat like the school rush, and then I'm like, wait, these fuckers aren't in school.
Well, regardless, I was surprised that there was like just 2 small children. Small.
Vibing. Weird. I know, but it was so my experience at the drive-thru, while it was so cute and the food was delicious, we weren't like far enough back to like comfortably like sit up and watch it, so we had to like lean back and then we had to like lean our head in a weird way. So I do want to go see it again because for the first like 30 minutes of the movie, Olivia was like, change seats with me, babe, like sit here, like you'll have a better view. And I was like, no, like I'm fine, like I'm fine. And then finally like 30 minutes and I was like, please change seats with me. And Olivia was like, yeah, I told you to do that like 100 times. But I felt bad. I was like, I don't want to like make you have a bad view. But like they were fine. So I finally, like 30 minutes in, I feel like the whole first part of the movie, I was just like annoyed about how I was sitting. And then I finally paid attention.
Relatable.
Yeah, so I need to see it again, but I thought this has nothing to do with like the core power,
Costumes.
right?
Costumes, amazing.
Like that Chanel necklace that she wore, everything that she wore was
And the
just
design of the house. Like I'd already seen a lot of the architectural digest piece on it, but it was beautiful.
It was just so like aesthetically like up my alley. I was loving it. But I do think that I was actually talking about this with Steph last night, that the shock of the whole movie for me was Ryan Gosling. Because I did not think that like when he was cast as Ken,
we all thought he was a bit old,
right? Everyone was like, he's giving old grandpa vibes for Ken.
But I would say through like everything that I saw in the promotional, I became no longer worried about him.
Yeah, I mean he looks
because
good on the red carpet,
in the promotional, and also just like he seemed to really get the vibe of Ken.
Yeah, like I guess when I think of Ryan Gosling, I think of The Notebook. So
I've never seen The Notebook.
No, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to. Oh my God.
I don't know. I've never really had any desire to watch it.
Oh my God. One year for Christmas, I think I was in high school, and this is when or maybe before high school, because this is when like DVDs were a thing. I asked my parents for like all the Nicholas Sparks DVDs.
Do you want to know what my mom's Christmas gift to my sister and I was one year? I'm certain she gave us other gifts as well.
Yeah.
But this was like a big deal.
What was it?
she would watch the full Star Wars movies. This was when there were significantly less. There's now like a dozen more.
Yeah.
But she would watch all the Star Wars movies and not look at like a computer or a magazine.
Wow.
And that was
her
our gift.
I
And we
never
were so
saw
excited.
them. I've never been a Star.
Never seen Star Wars?
No, I mean maybe I've seen like one or like like one in passing, but I've never really those or Harry Potter.
My dad named a company after Star Wars. I'm not kidding. One of his biggest companies he named after Star Wars.
That's iconic.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that they never got sued by Disney. They gave out Jedi of the Year awards, and like there was a whole magazine spread on. My dad doesn't work there anymore, but like how like they decorated their office all Star Wars themes, and I remember seeing that in high school and being like, how has Disney not sued them? But that sounds like someone else's problem.
Period. Yeah, but overall, I thought it was really great. I thought it was funny. Oh, and Ryan Gosling. I just thought he was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I wasn't expecting from The Notebook, from like what I've seen him in the past. Like, he was just so great.
I think what like I've seen a lot of discourse about the movie and like seen a lot of opinions, and I think there's been something really beautiful about like watching everyone connect about like girlhood and like womanhood and whatnot, and also seeing like I've seen a lot of people who are like trans women and trans men like talk about their experience with it and like how they related into it, and I've so much of that has been so beautiful. And I've also seen some people be like, I don't think it was progressive enough, like they didn't get into the intersectionality, and I agree, but like I think what feels really moving is that the fact that it was just like talking about feminism as like the base idea, and like equality, and showing that like the fact that this is probably one of the biggest blockbuster movies of the year, the fact that that message was so explicitly laid out in a movie, like as much as it's not as far as I would like it to be, like that is really radical for the time we are. Yeah, for that to be shown to children like all over the country, of like that is the lesson to be taught. Like I think that's really good. Like my mom hasn't seen it yet, and I was talking to her about it today, and I was ranting, and I was like, you need to see it so I can rant. And she was like, do you think your dad would like it? And I was like, he might. I mean, he also might pretend to not like it. Like he used to love Glee, and he would always say he was just watching it for us. And then he bought the Pitch Perfect soundtrack and said it was for us. And I was like, no, it isn't, you dumb bitch. But I was like, I think it would be something really good for him to watch, because I know like the biggest arguments I've tend to have with him are like, he is a straight white man, and he has had a very hard life in a lot of ways. He has dealt with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But I push him a lot on like recognizing like the privilege he has and like the privilege I have. And I think he struggles to comprehend that like he could have both had a very hard life and had a lot of privilege.
Yeah.
And I think like, it's a very simple message, but a very powerful thing to be like made by such like a corporation.
Yeah, it was interesting actually. I thought about that when I was watching the movie. You know, we're in like upstate New York, near Connecticut, watching this movie. There's a lot of, you know, men in the audience, and I was interested what their perspective was on the movie, because I think as a woman, obviously I relate to it so much, and I'm like, every man should watch this and listen to this. But I get curious of what's going through the man's brain. Like, are you receiving this message?
I'm curious as well. I mean, the only men's response that I've seen have been like, not actually, but reading about like some like conservative politicians.
Oh, how it's
backlash.
anti-men.
Yeah, and it's like, it's teaching young girls to tape men, and it's like, no, it's not. It's teaching young girls that like patriarchy is both hurtful to men and women.
Yeah,
and that like equality is an idea. I'm like, where is it teaching you to hate men? Like,
yeah, because Ken has this whole moment at the end where it's like, I'm Kenuff. Everybody wants that on a sweatshirt, by the way.
And like, I've seen so many things talking about how like, even when like Ken is the one to do her wrong and like takes over, and like that's the thing, is like in Barbie Land in the beginning, a bit of spoilers, so skip over like a couple of minutes if you don't want to hear spoilers. In Barbie Land, like men are not like expected to serve the women, but then when Ken comes back and introduces patriarchy, like they're brainwashing the women to making them serve. Like I've seen so many men like go and talk about how like it's unfair how the Kens are being treated in the like flip, and I'm like, they're at least not being treated with malice when it, like when Ken comes back or when Barbie goes to the real world, like women are treated with malice.
Right. I think I agree with that. I think what was interesting about like pre-Ken finding patriarchy was like, sure, like the Barbies were like in charge of the government, whatever, but they like you said, the men were never.
The men tried to be involved in the government, they would have been allowed to be.
Right. They never served like Barbie. When Barbie was talking with Ken, she was just like not focused on him. Like her whole energy didn't need to be all over him.
Barbie ever did to Ken was not love him.
Right.
In the way he loved her.
Exactly. Like,
also, the last line. I lost my mind at the last line.
What was the last line?
It was her being like, "I'm here for my gynecologist appointment."
Yes. Oh my god.
Like,
wait.
I think all of us thought it was gonna be like a job interview.
Yes.
And I was like, that is a hilarious way to end this movie. Barbie has a pussy now.
Literally.
You heard it here first. Barbie has a pussy.
Olivia turns to me and goes, "She found her vagina." I was like,
we all lost our shit in the theater. Like I never. Had you given me like a lineup of 300 insane ideas, I never would have picked that one of the lineup.
Me either. I never thought about it, but it was like I loved it. It was the perfect way to end it.
I had also seen a lot of stuff talking about how there was one scene that that Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie had to really fight with the Mattel executives to keep in.
Oh.
And while watching it, I remember being curious about that. And after the fact, I've seen that it was about the scene where Barbie is talking to the older woman on the bus stop.
Oh, yes. I've seen some like headlines about that.
Yes. And that wouldn't have been my first guess on the scene that they were fighting to keep, but like it also makes so much sense of like I think the executives were saying it was unnecessary, but the reason they wanted to keep it in, I think, so much was that like Barbie has not been taught to like hate women, and like she thinks this like older woman is so beautiful, and that is such a honestly like revolutionary idea in a society where women's value like inherently goes down, and women are hated for just the fact of aging, and women are expected to fight it so much and like are held to such different standards. It was so kind of revolutionary to like have Barbie look at her and be like, "You're so beautiful."
Yeah.
Because that is beautiful to her, and that like she hasn't been taught her entire life that there is like inherent ugliness in aging.
Yeah. Did you happen to see on TikTok the girl from Bama Rush's controversy about it?
I saw people replying to it, but I didn't actually watch what she said.
Yeah. Basically, she just said that like this wasn't the Barbie movie she was expecting. Like it wasn't all like
it wasn't
bubblegum and rainbows.
I was expecting it to be bubblegum and rainbows,
me
and
too.
I'm really glad that it wasn't. I'm going to be honest. I expected it to just like be fun, but be something very forgettable.
Right. No, same. I was like, I don't know what I was expecting, but what came out of it was not it, but it was so much better than I think it would have been if it was just bubblegum and rainbows.
Yeah.
Because it's something that like you can actually take a message from. Like I think most people toward the end when, you know, she's like when that Billie Eilish song plays and like all the montage of like the life is happening, like I was crying, like it was emotional. But yeah, basically she got so much heat because she was like, I didn't like the movie and and I just think her view is like closed. Like she doesn't have a very like open view of, you know, of the message. That was very good.
Kind of unsurprising.
Yes. Yeah. But Barbie was great. So if you haven't seen it, go see it because it is worth it.
It was.
And like also it was just so fun. Like I didn't do a huge like costume outfit or whatever, but I just like wore like a very cute Barbie-esque outfit and it was so much fun.
I wore my pink puff dress.
Yeah.
So I was very Barbie.
Oh, you were Barbie.
I was very Barbie. Here's the thing. That's not a very actually Barbie outfit, but it was very like pink.
Right.
Like, and I straightened my hair, which I feel like is kind of Barbie-ish, but
yeah. Ooh, that's a good outfit for the Barbie movie.
It's a great outfit for the Barbie movie. It's not what I would wear if I was to dress up as a Barbie.
Yes. Yes.
But like when I was walking down the street, girls on the street, they recognized, they were like, and we would smile at each other, and it was just such a lovely moment.
It is. Oh, Barbie's bringing the girls together.
Barbara.
I know, Barbara. That was cute. Like the part with the older woman, like who was the maker of Barbie. I thought that was cute. Sly. Wait, guys, ready?
Oh, there was a couple lines that they got in that I was like, I'm shocked they let them through. One of them was, I love white savior Barbie.
I know, it was really interesting that like Mattel, like, you know, like allowed them to really like, you know, put it on the company.
I'm surprised as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Iconic.
So into other life updates.
I know. What's happening?
So
my Notion's not working, so I have no notes in front of me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. During our pause, I'll
if you would like to check your notes on my phone.
Guys, notes.
So I have a thank you that I think I meant to do like honestly 2 months ago, and I might have already done it, but I'm not sure, and I'm not going to go back and listen to all the episodes. But if I didn't, when I mentioned not being able to mark messages as unread on text, so many people reached out to me to be like, you dumb bitch. No, they were all very nice about it. And so a genuine thank you from both me and my mother. My mother wanted me to communicate that she was thankful to the people. To every single person who reached out to me, because there was a bunch of people. Thank you. Don't know how we didn't know that. I think we mentioned it to my sister, and she was like, yeah, that's been a feature for years. I'm like, fuck you, how have you never mentioned this? Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have many major life updates. Your girl is still working and grinding and doing the thing. So that's kind of been most of my life, especially because like now I work a 9 to 5. Whatever, but I'm going to see Beyonce this weekend, which should be very exciting. Cannot wait to I cannot wait to update you guys. I went away last weekend with Olivia, and it was so fucking nice. It was just so nice to like get out of New York where it was still warm, and like we sat out by like the lake, and it was so nice, but like there was a breeze, there was no humidity. I did not feel like I was going to absolutely pass out because it was so fucking hot.
Yeah, you can feel the air.
It is
Today
disgusting
it was in
here.
like the mid 90s, and it said on the thing like feels like 100. And I had a whole plan of today, and it all got fucked because it was too hot to go outside.
No,
and
literally.
It was too hot, honestly, to clean my apartment. I put my shades down and had my AC going as much as I felt was appropriate, because there was also a Con Ed thing of like, please don't use your electricity too much. I started trying to clean, and I was like, this ain't happening.
No, it's disgusting. I was saying to Audrey earlier, like
Disgusting.
I was literally debating going to the office today because we had to record after I worked. And then once I saw the temperature, I was like, absolutely not.
I was gonna put on makeup for a recording, and to be honest, just like sitting honestly in here is not even that comfortable currently.
Yeah.
And like the sun is starting to set, and it's still pretty hot, and the spot where I sit to do my makeup tends to be even hotter.
Right.
So I was like, fuck this. Nah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also in my no makeup era right now.
Yes.
I just like don't like I love makeup, don't get me wrong. But I'm just like in this era because I think because it's so fucking hot out.
My makeup just wants to in my face.
Yeah, I'm like, why put it on?
I think like I usually am in a way less makeup era in summer. Like I tend to not wear much makeup, but I've just not been really like feeling the most confident. So I do feel like I've been in a little bit more of a makeup girl era than I am in the summer normally. Just like I need that little zazz of like I've really been into purple eyeshadow with a little bit of glitter. Yeah, I think it makes my eyes look really interesting.
Slay. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like I've been like very much exploring my light makeup girly self this summer. And I had a routine. And then yesterday I was going to dinner with one of our friends, Steph. And I was like, we were going to like this nicer restaurant. We went to this, it was actually very fun. We went to this like restaurant week thing at this like place.
Yes, I always forget to participate in restaurant week.
Me too. Actually, the only reason I found out about this thing was because I was on Threads and I saw this thread about this girl.
I ain't fucking joining Threads. You can't make me.
I haven't really been on it since, but I saw this thread about a girl who has it's called Absence of Proof, and it's a non-alcohol spirits, and they were doing this like a thing at this restaurant. They were doing so I was like, oh Steph, like do you want to go to this? So we went, but it was a nicer restaurant, so I kind of had to look nice, but I did my makeup in 30 minutes, which is like I never do that, but I now have been putting my NARS reflecting foundation. Like I'll put a pump of it in my moisturizer, which I really like.
I think part of the reason why like I'm more okay with makeup in summer is I don't wear like full foundation. Like
you never wear full foundation.
I don't like the look of it. I don't like the feel of it. Like I'm very sweaty. Like it doesn't wear well on me. Like I wear Milk's Sunshine Skin Tint or fucking whatever that like it's a tint. I don't like the sensation of foundation.
Yeah, I feel like after this summer, after like trying like a lighter look, I feel like less is more. Like I really like how I'm looking.
I like the look of skin coming through, even if it means you can see like my fucking acne and like breakouts and whatnot. I'd rather that than have it look makeup.
Yeah, I feel like now even like I don't want to do eyeliner. I don't want to even put that much eyeshadow on my eyes. Like I'm just like, keep it to the fucking basics. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But those were all my updates for me. What about you? Anything going on?
My only other thing is Clueless moment.
Oh yeah.
It's my bathroom has been smelling really bathroomy recently. I don't know if it still is. Earlier today, it was really bad.
Really? I didn't smell anything when I went in.
It was like not like shit or anything. Like, it wasn't smelling poopy. Like, it just is smelling like, you know how sometimes bathrooms really smell bathroomy? And it's just been smelling
like bleachy?
No, I don't know how to describe it. Just like really bathroomy, almost a little musky.
Oh.
And I like keep checking, like everything's clean. I keep cleaning things. And like whenever it's smelling in there, I'll like go around to the different parts of my room, the bathroom. I mean, it's not very big. And like try and smell and figure out where it's coming from. And I cannot fucking figure it out. But every once in a while I go in there and it smells bathroomy. Like,
interesting.
and I'm so fucking confused, people.
This sounds like a confusion, a Clueless moment that we're having in my household. My mom has a car. My mom has a car. My mom has
Not to brag, but my mom has a car.
She has a car. It's actually a very nice car. She has a BMW. But basically, every time I get in it for like the last I want to say 4 months, it has this like sour milk smell. And I'm like, what are you guys putting in here? And it's so funny because my mom and dad can't smell it. I bet because they use the car so much. But everybody else, so anybody who I get in there, I'm like, do you think it smells in here? And my parents think I'm on this like rampage of like insulting their vehicle. And I'm not. It actually fucking smells in there.
I tend to get a bit car sick. And so when it smells in a car, it's just bad. And particularly because I don't really ever ride in cars anymore. I feel like my car sickness has gotten much worse.
Yeah. It's like a weird smell. At first I thought it was like a BO smelling smell, and now it just like smells like sour milk. And I'm like, you guys need to, Olivia brought up a good point. Like maybe there's something in the vents. Like, you know, I was like, sour smells for Clueless moments of the week.
Hot,
So
sexy.
yummy.
Nom, 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 nom. No, I closed my bathroom door earlier because I was like, I feel like the bathroom smell is leaking into the rest of my my apartment. It's 2 rooms. So I literally closed the door because I was like, it smells so bathroomy.
Interesting. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Nasty.
Okay, you guys, we have a really fun topic for today.
Before we start,
Yes, please.
Nancy Purdy warning for the whole rest of the episode.
Whole rest of the
Whole
episode.
rest of it.
If you know us, if you're an adult in our lives, turn it off now.
I was talking to my parents on the phone before you came over.
Yes.
And I said, as a heads up, the episode that we're recording today, don't listen to it. It's our 69th episode. And then my dad proceeded to make a joke where he was like, oh, what else could it be about? You could make it about like your dad who's 69, who he's so old he doesn't even get that reference. And I'm like, but you clearly do because you're making a reference to it right now. And I immediately was just like, yeah, okay, we all know what it's about. And I don't really want to have the conversation with you. So let's just move on.
Move on. Just don't listen to it.
The limited amount that I've learned about my parents' sex life has been too much. Which honestly, the worst conversation I ever had with my father, well, second worst, was I one time asked him about why he had married his first wife, and he started telling me, well, you know, she was the first woman I had sex with. And I went, that's not what I asked. And he said, no, that is what you asked. And I went, that is very much not what I asked. Not what I asked.
Not what I asked. But yeah, so from here on out, bye.
Okay, so we're back to talk about sex. Fun fact, since we left off, because there was a brief interlude where we stop in between the intro and this to reset things. Anyway, someone arrived.
We have a live studio audience.
Woo! And that person is Sarah's partner.
Olivia. They can't, you know, they're not on camera, so.
You might have.
There we go.
You definitely could pick that up.
Yes, for sure.
So Sarah's going to get to tell stories about their sex life in front of her partner.
I'm like, great.
Which is very funny for me.
Which is so funny for you. Okay, where do you want to start? Do we want to start with like how we're feeling about sex currently?
Yeah, we're gonna,
and then work into the funny?
We're going to chat about where we're at with our like sex life approach to it, whatever now. And then we're going to go into dumb fucking stories we have about sex.
Exactly.
Woo!
Woo! Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You start.
Oh, great.
I can start if you
No,
want.
it's okay. I'm going to start. Yeah, so how am I feeling about my sex life right now? So I feel like for the past like 3 years since Olivia and I got together, my sex life has been really hard for me. I feel like, especially for like having known about my sexuality for so long, but like pushing it down, I think it was really hard for me to start suddenly like changing my sex life. However, I would say in the last like 6 months has been like the best I've ever felt sexually, like with my sex life, because I think I'm finally starting to actually like open up about what I'm actually feeling about sex and the shameful things and the things that are making me feel like bad about myself. So, and these are like the few things that I think have helped me sort of like reach this point of like, I'm feeling really good and great. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie, like still things can get hard. I'm going to tell a story in a second about that, but it's not like it used to be. So I would say like things that have helped me are having a really good open communication with my partner around sex. We talk about it very often, what we like, what we don't like, all of those things. I think it's like really, it can be like, look, not gonna lie, it's like fucking awkward. Like it's vulnerable, it's uncomfortable, but I feel like only good things have ever come out of it, because I think we always expect people to just know what we like, know what we want.
There's so often that we expect people to read our fucking minds and then get annoyed when they can't.
Literally. And so how is this other person supposed to know like how you're feeling about it? But yeah, I mean, anybody who's dating somebody, like I just highly recommend talking about it like as much as you can, even if it's uncomfortable. Like sometimes I'll literally write notes on my phone because I can't say it out loud.
I so get that.
Yeah, because it's like uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's deeply, deeply vulnerable.
Literally. I guess I didn't even realize how vulnerable it was, because I think like when you talk about sex with your friends, it can be very fun and exciting and like goofy.
But I think especially with the way women are taught about sex, like you are kind of taught like it's not for you. You're not really meant to enjoy it. Like sex, the way that it's taught is very male gaze and men centered.
Right. And I think that's what has been tripping me up with sex, like, you know, coming into like my queerness. Like I feel like it's been hard for me to like let that go and defocus it, and so it's taken a lot of like effort to do that. I also think something else that's really helped me like with my sex life is talking post sex. Like I called it a post sex talk. And like
post-sex recap.
Yeah, literally. And whether that's like talking about like what just like transpired or like laughing or something, like I think because for me, like during sex I was fine, but then after sex I would start like thinking and spiraling and just like all these things, and so talking after would like let me not do that and not spiral, and I would get to focus on like the really great things that just happened and like why they were great, and like that, you know, like, you know, Ken's not bringing the patriarchy to my bedroom, you know? So I feel like that has also been super helpful. And then I will go into my vulnerable sex story. And I just want everybody to know, Olivia and Audrey, I'm not telling the full story of this, okay? Because it's a little bit vulnerable. But I'll tell you guys like another vulnerable part of it. So Olivia and I were having sex the other week. And I had climax. So I'll use that word. I had climax and literally 2.2 seconds later started hysterically crying. Like, guys, it was the most insane like experience of my life. Like, you just had this very high and then literally I started like laughing. Like I was like laughing and then crying, like just like instantly. And it was this weird week. Like I had already been having a lot of like shameful thoughts that week, which was out of the norm. Like I know it's like happening subconsciously, but it was never happening so consciously, but that week it really was. And then, you know, we had sex and I just like started crying and just feeling all of these like really intense emotions. And I wanted to talk about it because I think in that moment I felt very embarrassed. Like, you know, it's very like, what the fuck is happening? Like, you're not supposed to cry during sex. Like, what? But like after talking with my partner, talking with my therapist, like this is a normal thing that happens to people. So I thought it'd be important to talk about it because like if this has happened to you or like it's happens to you.
Tons of fucking hormones and chemicals. Wow, I can't
chemicals.
Chemicals just running straight through like crazy through your body.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was great because in that moment, like Olivia and I were able to talk and like talk about like, you know, this is what I'm like experiencing. And we are also able to laugh about it because it was just like so like kind of funny. And like if you knew the full story, you'd know why we're laughing about it, but I can't. I just literally cannot.
Oh wait, I think I do.
Yes. So yeah, but I just think like sometimes, especially in your 20s and I don't get me wrong, like love Alex Cooper, call her daddy. But I think sometimes people, especially in the 20s, it's like crazy sex life, hook up with all these people, like split on the dick, like all that shit. But like
what was that last thing you said?
Split on the dick.
That's what I thought you said. What is that?
Like split on the dick, like and like bouncy.
I've never heard someone say that.
Split on the dick. I've never split on the dick, guys. I'm not that flexible. But yeah, I just wanted like to like highlight that sex doesn't always have to be this like crazy, like, I mean, and we're gonna tell crazy stories because it does happen sometimes, but I think it's okay for things to be like normal and average. And I think it took me a second to realize that too. Like if and
sex can be funny. Weird sounds happen during sex.
Oh my god, you can start
sounds.
hysterically crying. Like it's such an interesting experience. And I think, you know, I had put so much pressure on myself, like sex always has to be this like, you know, every single time has to be like a movie, and that's just like not what real life is. Like we all have shit going on. Sometimes it's like you have 20 minutes and like you just want to like get it in quickly, or you've had a long day and you're fucking tired, like, or like, you know, there's a lot of things that can like interrupt the sex life, especially as you get older. So, you know, don't feel bad about yourself if like you don't have all these like crazy stories. Like it's okay for it to just be like normal and average.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I'm really representing the girlies who are just kind of accidentally abstinent.
I know. In the notes I wrote, Audrey, how are you feeling? Are you wanting to make moves to possibly have sex with somebody? What do you feel?
I read that and I was like, what a subtle dig at me.
I'm just curious because we haven't talked about it in a while.
So I was talking to a friend about it recently and I realized this won't officially hit until this fall. But this fall it will have been 3 years since I've done anything beyond kissing with someone. Which is longer than I realized. Longer than I intended. That feels pretty crazy. It was fall of our senior year, the last time I did anything more than like kiss someone for like under a minute.
Yeah.
So it's been weird. A lot of my like more adult life, I've been on like antidepressants, which affect your sex drive.
Yes. Oh my God.
I also was like a person relatively later to the game. Like I had sex my freshman year of college, but I hadn't done essentially anything before that. Like I went from kiss someone to we skipped all the middle steps and then went straight to having sex. And I basically had sex with that person 3 times and then our relationship ended. And then I didn't have sex again for like another 2 years when I was in a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
And then broke up with that person for summer of the pandemic and then kind of hooked up with someone senior year that fall. But haven't done anything since then. And I'm on different meds now that affect my sex drive less. The meds that I was on beforehand, I was on a super high dose of Prozac. Like the ending of my last relationship was partially, like definitely not entirely, but a small portion of it was like due to sex shit, which was just like it's on such a high dose of antidepressants. I had no interest in sex. Like sex was just non-enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
And there's definitely is a part of me that like wants to get back out there and get involved, but like I'm not a hookup person.
I'm not either. I wrote that like in my like in one of the stories I had written out. I'm not a part of hookup culture. However, I do not judge anybody that participated.
It just like doesn't work for me. Like I've only had sex with 2 people, and I don't really want to date someone right now. And then not going to go into any details of this at all, but like just an additional thing that is a part of it that I want to acknowledge with like a brief trigger warning is in 2018 I was sexually assaulted, and that's something that honestly it's been fucking like 5 years now, but it's something that like I'm still not really good with. I still like have a lot of shit with that, and I'm very like strangers scare me. And it wasn't even a stranger who did this, but like even with my like last partner, like I literally spoke to him one time of being like, hey, I'm sorry that I flinch sometimes when you touch me. Like, I have a lot of shit to work through with that. And like, that's an additional thing that just makes it so like hooking up's not really going to work for me.
Yeah.
And so when like I talk with all of my friends, I like definitely feel a little embarrassed and awkward. Like I was kind of a late bloomer and like no one was really interested in me in high school. And I definitely like, I still kind of feel like a late bloomer. Like I've yet to have sex with a woman. I've only had sex with 2 people. And both were kind of in a phase where I didn't enjoy sex at all. Like I own a dildo now because I was like, I don't know if I have any capacity to enjoy any level of penetrative sex. And I figured out that I can, but like for a long time I really didn't enjoy penetrative sex. And so I also feel behind on that front. Like I just feel unfamiliar, behind, and like goofy. And so it all feels very scary. So I don't know. I keep being torn. I'm not really sure where I'm at. I own now 2 sex toys.
Slay. Love a good sex toy.
And yeah, I'd like to, but it's just like I think that I need to like actually maybe work through some of my shit beforehand.
Yeah. It's interesting how like complicated or complex sex is. It really is. Because, you know, as like a horny teenager or high schooler for me, like I was just like having sex and it like wasn't.
I did nothing in high school.
Yeah, I was fucking like a bunny rabbit in high school. Like I'm not even gonna lie about it.
Not at all. I like kissed 2 people in high school.
Yeah.
And like did nothing else.
Yeah. I feel like in high school, like the 2 relationships, like prominent relationships that I had, like it was interesting. So the first one I had, he like it was all about his pleasure, and the thing is that was that's the person I lost my virginity to.
The person I lost my virginity to was pretty aggressive, which is not a problem, but like
you talk about
he
it.
Knew, well, the first time we hooked up,
right,
he started choking me and did not give me any warning, and I was just like, this is the moment I die. Okay. And then the first time we had sex, which he knew was the first time I was having sex, he also choked me during that. And I was like, hey, dude, maybe don't.
Like, if we don't talk, like, you got to talk about it.
You're like a 6'4" man. Like, what if you murder me?
But the thing is, and I think your story points this out too, like you don't know any better at the time. So at the time, like I didn't know that, like I didn't even know women could like come until my second relationship because that it wasn't about that.
Yeah.
And then my second relationship, as bad as that relationship was, I think like we did have a very active and like, you know, crazy sex life. And so I like was figuring out all these things about myself for like the first time, like as a sexual like human being. And I think you're in high school, there's a lot of hormones going on, like all of that.
I think I was too anxious to be horny in high school.
Well,
I'm not even kidding. Horny. I'm literally not kidding.
I was like horny, but like he was just horny to another extent. Yeah. Like it was insane how many, like it was just like, and then it got to the point where I was like, this relationship is sex. Like we could not function if we were not having sex with each other, which is a problem. Like, you know, but I didn't realize that until like, you know, I was outside of the relationship. I forget where I was going with all of this, but yeah.
You were really horny in high school.
Yeah, that's it. I was horny in high school. I mean, I was like, I just like, yeah, I feel like everybody has like a different experience.
Yeah. I feel like the thing that I feel the most contrast or the most like sort of dissonance with is I think I read as a person who, or at least maybe in college, read as someone who like is more sexually active than I am. I think people are generally surprised at how little sex I've had.
I get where you're coming from though, because I feel like if I was not in a relationship, I would not be having a lot of sex. Like the times where I've been single, like I don't have like because I just have a really hard time with hookup culture. However, like getting into like sex stories, like I have had one night stand in Punta Cana, but it was because I felt like very comfortable with this person, but also I was drunk. It was a 26 Canadian cop.
I remember this story.
Yes, Canadian cop. The 3 Canadian cops.
And I couldn't go on this trip because I had acute kidney failure right before spring break, which is like so mean. Like that was just so mean of the universe. It was literally days before spring break.
Literally.
And we, us and 2 other friends were supposed to go to Punta Cana, and I was in the hospital with acute kidney failure.
Like what?
And I was like, fuck this, dude. Give me a fucking break.
You guys, it was so funny. So Audrey was like writing some notes while I was finishing up work before we started recording.
And I accidentally saw one of Sarah's notes. In my defense, it said my name twice. And by that, I mean it said my name and Olivia's name. And because Olivia's name was also my name, I like doubly read it. I was trying really hard not to, but I just saw it. And I was like, Sarah!
Yes. So it says, Audrey, Olivia and I did have sex in your shower last summer. So
it wasn't actually my shower.
It
It
was
was my
not.
parents' house guest room shower.
Right.
I wouldn't have had an issue either way, but I would have been like, God damn. Like, I really hope no one has sex in my new bedroom before I do. But also at this rate, I can't be mad if someone does. Like, someone might have already. I don't have like cameras or fucking anything in there.
Okay, so I bring this up because we were coming back. I think it was like on the 4th of July. We were coming back from the boat,
Yes.
and
Everyone has to shower once you get off the boat.
yeah, and we have to shower. So I was like, Olivia and I will just take a shower together.
Yeah.
And I think it was Steph or Travis, and they were like, well, don't have like sex or whatever. And I wasn't really even thinking about having it until like we got into the shower. And then I think Steph made a comment after like about it too, and I was like, and she was like, you had sex in the shower. I was like, yes, I did.
I found with my ex, one of the biggest not actual issues, but I tend to like cooler showers, and so whenever we would shower togetger,
Oh my God, it was
we
cold.
it would just be like whenever I was under the water, I'd turn it down, and then I would turn it up for when he was stepping under the water. I don't like really hot showers.
I like a good warmth, but I don't want it like burning hot.
I tend to take like lukewarm.
Okay, lukewarm. Interesting. Yeah, so that was one of my funny sex stories. I feel like my sex stories are not like that crazy. I've been walked in on so many times, like it's ridiculous.
I've never been walked in on, but in my old apartment in college that I was in for 2 years, so I would lock my room whenever we were having sex because we all walked into each other's rooms all the time. And I think I actually managed to never walk in on any of my other roommates having sex, but definitely other people walked in on each other. Yeah. So I would lock the door when we were having sex. And so we've just gone back from like winter break or something. I hadn't seen my then boyfriend for like a while.
Yeah.
And he had driven me back from the airport. And so we immediately got back and like went into my bedroom and we were having sex. And my roommate comes up to the door and she like knocks on it and I don't answer. And then like knocks on it again, like tries the door. And then she turns to everyone and our walls aren't very thick. So I could hear all this. And she goes, oh, they're probably having sex. Which we were, but then like you can't continue having sex
when
after
somebody is like announcing it.
So we just like stopped and we just got dressed and like walked out like shamefully.
It's like when I cried after having sex with Olivia and I was like
oh yeah.
And I was like, do you want to continue? And they were like,
no.
Babe, once you start crying, like
kind of
it's
ruins the vibe. It's kind of not the vibe anymore.
I was like, do you want to continue? Okay, so back to like crazy sex stories before we get into your guys's, because you, like so a few of you sent us yours, which is so nice. So I would say my funniest sex story doesn't even have to do with me having sex. Okay, so basically I was in high school and a friend of mine had thrown a party, even though she was sick with fucking mono at the time.
Oh, God.
But one of our friends was about to move away, so she threw her a party. Mm-hmm. And she decided to go to bed early, and she said, you guys, like, go, because at the time, my then boyfriend was, like, at a house down the street. She was like, you guys go, and then just come back whenever you're done. Mm-hmm. So around 2 a.m. we come back and, you know, I'm not coming back with my then boyfriend to my friend's house. Yeah. But I was with another friend who came and she was also staying there for the night. And she was talking to this guy and, you know, he starts coming back to the house with us. And I was like, why is he coming with us? Like, we're sleeping at a friend's house. Like, her mom's there. It's inappropriate. Like, whatever. So we literally, like, walk in her house. He's following us up the steps. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Where's this man
going?
So I get into the bed. I'm, like, on the top bed, and they're on the pull-out bed.
No.
And they, like, lay down in the pull-out bed, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then, like, 5 minutes in, I start hearing, like, moaning and noises and whatever. And I'm like, Sarah, go to sleep. Sarah, go to... Like, I just, like, I literally remember putting my hand, like, on my ear and being like, Sarah, go to sleep. Eventually, I go to sleep. And the next thing I know, it's 6 a.m. in the morning, and that friend wakes me up. And she's like, Sarah, we have to go. Like, you know, Katrina's mom said she's still not feeling well. They're going to go to the doctors, like something like that. So, of course, I like get up and I'm like, okay, like going, right? And so we walk to this nearby bagel place. And once we get to the bagel place and order and we sit down, she goes, her mom walked in on us last night having sex. She got very mad about it. And yeah, So she basically woke me up because she was in trouble and wanted to escape the trouble. Yes. So that's like the funniest or like just like kind of craziest situation I've really ever been in sex wise, I feel like.
The weirdest place I've had sex is we had our apartment in college. You would share like laundry with people on the floor, and it was like,
oh my God, in the laundry room?
yeah, in Crest. I had sex in the Crest laundry room. There was no locking the door.
Wow, that's ballsy. I love that though, like the adrenaline, like of somebody possibly coming in.
Yes, and it was late at night, and the other issue was there was people having a 24-hour Harry Potter marathon in our apartment, and the wall that the TV against was the wall against my bedroom wall, and the walls were very thin. Yeah, no, I have found out that my former roommate has since told me, she was like, yeah, no, there was definitely times where I could hear sounds coming from your bedroom, and I was like, I hate that. But yeah, I think the funniest thing that ever happened was one time while a little bit tipsy with my then boyfriend, I texted my roommates asking if any of them had any sort of restraints, and none of them did. But one of them texted back saying, me and my partner previously have used ballet tights, and that's worked great. So I have both tied someone up and been tied up with ballet tights. They do work. I mean,
iconic.
But it does make it putting them on for 8 a.m. ballet the next morning feel a little different.
Feel a little funny. I know. Olivia got me the cutest pink handcuffs. They're leather. Have I
really
never sent you a picture of them?
I don't think you have. I think we've spoken about them.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I don't think I've seen them.
They're so cute. And I thought I had lost them, but I recently found them.
I think the most embarrassing, the most embarrassing sex story for me was in college. I was our class's manager, and I would read class meetings. And one time, right before a class meeting, I was having sex, and then something got in my eye.
Oh.
And then I had to immediately go to the class meeting because I was already running behind because I've been having sex. And my eye was very obviously irritated, and I kept rubbing it the whole time, and I was having to leave this meeting, and you took over for part of it, and I was like, thank God, I need a minute. And I just kept rubbing it, and I was like, oh God, this is, and it was, I'd come in my eye, and it was really embarrassing.
Yeah, that it's never hit my eye, but it like got in my hair, or like just like, yeah, it's not cute. Like,
no, it hurt. I was like, this is so embarrassing, because I was like, I just had one eye that was really red, and I was like, oh God. Not as bad as in high school. I got pink eye in both eyes, and so everyone just thought I was super stoned at school.
Love that.
And I was like, nope.
All right, should we read some of the things that people have sent us?
I deeply enjoyed these so much. I love it. Okay. I'm a little perv.
So this one says, it was the day of the biggest event on campus my sophomore year, and my dorm room was in an arch right above it. I was sitting on my partner's face when Old Town Road by Lil Nas X starts blasting. Slay.
Yeah.
Slay.
There was definitely dorms at Elon where you could see people fucking.
Yeah. Sheridan, but like that was Olivia and I.
You could see my bedroom from the road at Crest, but we were like so far away from the road, but still my ex would always make me close the windows. And I was like, that's so, like, no one's, like, we're like 20 feet away from like the sidewalk. Like, no one's looking. And if they are, go ahead.
Slay. If they're looking, that's a slay.
Good for them.
I think this one is funny. I took poppers once while having sex and had already taken an edible and straight up lost consciousness for a minute. It was crazy.
I love this one that says, the day I lost my virginity, I walked out of his room to his dad sitting in the living room. It was my first time meeting him, and I was horrified. I went to shake his hand, and he responded with a fist bump.
No, I think I was mortified. Like, so there was a period where my little brother had walked in on me. My dad had almost walked in on me. And so like, and I guess, you know, you could hear like at that time I had like a pull out couch. And so I guess you could like hear it. Oh. And my dad and my mom.
I had an ex who had a bed on wheels, and I was like,
what?
So we had sex a lot on the floor, and it hurt my knees.
Yeah, like, ow. And at the time, my parents, like, literally ended up having a discussion with me and were like, you cannot do that in the house. And I was, like, mortified. I was like, oh my God.
I don't think I ever did anything in my old, like, childhood house. Because I went to boarding school.
I've been hooking up in my childhood bed since I was 12.
Yeah, now we're in a new house, and I obviously haven't hooked up with anyone in that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Like, I've had multiple friends have sex at my house, and I have yet to have sex in my house. Behind the times.
When you find the right person. Yeah, it'll happen.
Eventually, maybe.
Yeah, it will.
It
will. Okay, wait. Let me make sure. Oh, okay. Let me go to the one in the messages. Okay, hold on.
Because I'm excited to hear this one. This is the
Me
only
too.
one that I haven't heard
I haven't
yet.
read this one either.
Ooh.
Oh, it's a surprise. It's a surprise. Okay, here we go. One time when my boyfriend and I first started dating, he was going down on me and he was doing the ABC technique. Okay, yes. He got to the letter E and F, and I sit up, look at him, and say, "Are you doing the fucking alphabet right now?" That is funny.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I had a prior partner tell me that they would do like script letters down there, which I thought was an interesting. They would do song lyrics with script letters.
One time, I don't know if you know how there's the two movie that one of them is No Strings Attached and one of them is Friends with Benefits.
Yes.
Whichever one has Justin Timberlake in it. There's a line where he's going down on Mila Kunis. And Mila Kunis is like, "You're not trying to dig to China." And I said that to one of my past partners because no offense to him, he was very bad at oral. And I was like, "You're not trying to dig to China with your tongue. Like, that's doing nothing, sir." To the point in which I'm going to be honest, I was always just trying to get him to stop because he was so bad at it.
Oh, that sucks.
In his defense, this was when I was on like 60 milligrams of Prozac, but he's also the one who asked me, "How many orgasms did you have?" And I said, I don't keep track.
Oh my God.
Dude, you'll know.
That's when you don't know. That's like those videos of guys when like comedians on the street will be like, "How many tampons do you think a girl like uses during her period?" It's hysterical.
It felt so embarrassing for me for him. And I'm not someone who's really ever faked an orgasm, but like when someone confidently asks, "How many orgasms did you have?"
Like
you can't say 0.
That's scary. I would be like, "What? Have you never like watched like porn
It did make me think. I was like, "You've dated multiple other people. Can you really not
tell?"
Like, it just made me like re-examine. I'm like, I really think it's very obvious.
Wait, asking a question to the studio audience, babe, can you tell like when I like? I mean, do you feel like a different?
There's
sensation?
a squeezy.
Like when.
So your clitoris becomes a lot more
Gore. Yeah.
bigger, and you can feel it a lot easier, like leading up. And then obviously you have like physical, like
Right. But
tensing of muscles, the noises.
right. No, I know that. I feel like you could tell by the physical, but I'm more like, could he not tell like with like? Because I know that because even like when you're fingering somebody, like you can feel the clit like get bigger. So I'm concerned for him. Obviously, you feel that.
No, he was inserted, and that's how I'm like. Yeah, I'm like, you would notice there's very obvious contractions.
There's contractions,
and I remember being like, I truly was just so flabbergasted for him that I was like,
yikes.
If you can't tell, it didn't happen.
Wait, there's a part 2 to the alphabet story.
Oh my God, yes.
He told the story to his guy friends recently and they died laughing. And I was there and they looked at me and were like, "Wait, you can tell?" And I responded with, "Yeah, it's my fucking vagina, bro."
It's got like the most nerve endings that you have on your body.
I know. That's honestly so hysterical. Yeah, sex stories are like, they can be, I feel like everybody has like really funny sex stories and I like don't, except for the crying one.
I don't have many that were like,
Olivia's laughing.
I don't think I have many that are like legit funny. I think I just have many of like men having a lack of understanding.
Yeah, I think but like that blows my mind, like the lack of understanding.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it just honestly, even in the moment, and especially looking back, I was like, this is embarrassing for you that you think that.
I know. It really is. And even like as I've gotten older, I think when I was younger, I would try and fake it and stuff like that. And now I just feel like I'm in a relationship where I can just be like, "Hey, it's not going to happen tonight."
I do think that I'm at a point where I haven't obviously had the opportunity to test this in reality, but I do think that I'm at a point where like, I would tell a partner like, "Hey, this is for me. penetration on its own does not do enough. I need other
No.
stimulation. And where like if I was having sex with someone, I'm gonna tell them that, because I'm gonna be honest, I've had sex too many times where it was just straight up not enjoyable for me, and I'm just not willing to do that anymore. If I'm having sex, I would like to
Yeah.
enjoy it. And preferably I'd like to orgasm. So
Yeah, who doesn't? Yeah, I feel like with penetration now, I've realized that I like sort of enjoy it like after I've climaxed. Then I like it for like maybe a minute or two, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done.
here's the thing, I'm actually very okay with it at this point. I've just realized like no one did a good job at foreplay.
Foreplay
We just go
is
straight from like 0 to 100, and that
Do not
doesn't work well.
underestimate the power of foreplay.
Yeah.
Never. Well, thanks for 69ing with us.
Oh yeah. Also, we took a poll on whether or not people like 69ing. I don't. Do you?
No, it's too much going on at once. Like
Yeah.
I mean, look, and maybe this is like the pillow princess in me, but like when like somebody is pleasing me, like I want to feel it. Like I don't want to be also trying to get
Yes.
you off at
and
the
then
same
there's also
time.
like height differences. I think it's more complicated than like practically works. Like there's other sex I would rather have.
Yeah, it's just like not my favorite.
No.
I like to focus on my pleasure when it's happening.
Or like focus on the other person, but I don't want to
Yeah.
like I want to be able to place 100% of my attention on you.
Yeah, I do. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to, oh my God, my words were just tripping over. Let me try that again. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's I just did it again.
Thank
Cut.
you for so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to rate, review,
And subscribe and follow and comment and all of the things. We hope you have an amazing Tuesday and an amazing week. And we'll see you guys next week. And don't forget to be motherfucking clueless.
and I really hope Nancy Purdy didn't listen
I know.
to
That's
this. I don't think she would.
I know. Maybe I'll say what really happened during that story if I can.
Nancy Purdy can listen.
No, if like I can prove it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, bye guys. This is fun.
This has been a 58 Ember production. For more shows, please visit the 58 Ember channel, 58ember.com, or find us at 58 Ember Media on socials.